Manchester United out of the FA Cup, losing 1-0 to Chelsea. Loads to talk about. I was just going to hang on and listen to what the BBC had to say after the game, but Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker still haven't removed their heads from the backside of Antonio Conte and Chelsea. So we go live. It's always going to be very hard to win a game when it's 10 against 12, but I'm absolutely gutted that as holders of the FA Cup, and the FA Cup, the FA Cup is something I really want to impose on the first few minutes of this match reaction, that this cup is the FA Cup, and we have been consistently, and our manager especially, done wrong against this season by, funnily enough, the FA and the FA's refs. So it doesn't surprise me that we have been forced out of the FA Cup by the FA refs because they don't like Manchester United and they don't like our manager. I feel sorry for Manchester United fans, first of all. Most of you, like me, have been looking forward to this game. We've been at work and stuff today, really building towards it. Looking forward to, with all due respect, playing against Chelsea, who will win the league this year, and seeing where we are in relation to Chelsea, and going head to head with them and seeing where we are and where we need to be next year, because they will win the Premier League. But I was never in fear of Chelsea. I'm never in fear at all. I think they're a very good system, but if we do what we did in the first half an hour, where we are patient and we go toe to toe with them, then we have every opportunity of getting something out of it. But the disappointment is that even as a Manchester United fan or a neutral who wanted to watch a game of football, what you actually got to see yet again was a referee who should be seen and not heard, putting themselves on the back of the papers tomorrow because they've got an ego to trip. It happens so much now. I reacted badly at the time, but it just happens so often now with Manchester United. I can't remember the last penalty we had. I can't remember the last decision we really had that went our way, really. We've had the odd offside and stuff like that, but it's just consistently bad refereeing. And for those who want to say, well, in the law of the game, it was a yellow card. I think the first one, Herrera's there, Hazard's running towards him. Of course he knows he's there and he stands his ground. And he probably leaves his shoulder a little bit there. But Hazard's running towards him like a fly round shit. Hazard, anywhere near the referee, was going down like a hooker on holiday. He just was going down absolutely everywhere. And all right, it's a yellow card for Herrera. If you want that one, fine, I'll give it you. But the second one, Herrera makes no more fouls up until the second yellow card, which it was a foul. It was a soft foul, but it was a foul. It's never a yellow card, but it's certainly not a second yellow card to send a player off the pitch in a game that's on British TV. The world is watching, and it's only half an hour in. It's not a second yellow card. Any referee, even Frank Lampard said at half time, he shouldn't be sending him off. It's harsh. It ruins the game as a spectacle. It ruins Manchester United's chances in the game, and it just wasn't a second yellow card. It should have been, at the very least, a final warning for Herrera, who'd not actually made any other fouls. But Mike Oliver's such a thick person. What actually happened is he'd given Phil Jones a final warning, and then because there's a foul straight after it, he sends Ander Herrera off. It was shocking refereeing. It's the reason this game has been lost. But beyond that, what I would say is, I think Marcus Rashford nearly pulls a miracle out and gets us back in the game. But beyond that, I think the team deserves a hell of a lot of credit, because we played Chelsea with 11 men in October and we got thumped 4-0. We've played them with 10 men and we lost 1-0. And I think the main thing that United need to come out of that game was to not get thrashed, to come out of it with their heads held high and not get done over. And I think if we'd gotten beaten 3 or 4-0 and Chelsea had dominated us, it could have been confidence sapping for the rest of our season. But to come out of that, I think we come out of it with our heads held high, and every United fan and every United player, and Mourinho and everybody associated with Manchester United, will walk out of that with a real sour taste in the mouth, but a bit of an up yours feel as well. Because we wanted to defend the FA Cup, but it's the lowest priority of what we're left in. It leaves us with, we're not going to get a massive fixture congestion now in May, having to cancel another game because of an FA Cup weekend. I'm really, really disappointed, but we walk out of that with our heads held high, knowing that we've basically been robbed. Not robbed of a result. I'm not that naive and bitter to say that, we were going to win that game. But it was 0-0 when that happened. We were robbed of an opportunity to have a go in that game. And yet again, robbed by a bad referee. Herrera's been sent off twice now. 2 yellow cards and a sending off twice this season. One by Michael Oliver and one by his, Clattenburg, and Oliver's his love child. So, he's obviously had a word with him, but he got his second yellow card with Clattenburg. He slipped into a player and got a second yellow card for it. So 2 unjustified red cards for Herrera. And of course, the even worse thing about it is that Herrera now can't play against Middlesbrough. So, but these are the things that are happening to us, and this is what happens with Manchester United. You have to take it on the chin, and we will win on Thursday, and hopefully we'll win on Sunday, and we can focus on the 2 things that will actually get us back into the Champions League. But I will tell you now, categorically, I will tell you this, 100%. I've been saying this for weeks. We play Chelsea in the middle of April. We'll beat Chelsea in the middle of April. As long as a referee doesn't turn up and ruin it again, we will beat Chelsea in April, because Chelsea are going to win the Premier League, and I applaud them for that. But they're not. They're never. I don't understand why United fans were so fearful of them, and it's going to be a miracle if we can beat them. We could have beaten them tonight. We never actually had the opportunity to do that and impose our game plan, because it's a 90-minute game plan. And you could see what we were trying to do. We were working our way into the game. We were always on a level playing field, and then get a couple of chances and maybe nick it. And that's what we were trying to do. And let's be honest as well. That 11 that United put out, I mean, Phil Jones is still Phil Jones, isn't he? He's still not playing very well. Darmian, I still don't rate him. Ashley Young tried hard, had an okay game, but is he really first team player? So that's 3 players in the team that, against a full strength Chelsea side that are going to win the Premier League, we didn't give a bad account of ourselves. Man of the match is David De Gea for me. I've heard people mention Marcus Rojo. I liked his efforts. He played really well. But for me, it was between Valencia and De Gea, and I thought De Gea was just fantastic. De Gea will be irreplaceable if he leaves Manchester United. He's such a good player. He made a fantastic save, which actually we had 11 men on the pitch at that time from Cahill. A fantastic goalkeeper. And I even thought, could he have done better on Kante's shot? Unfortunately, the old Pogba thing comes into play again, doesn't it? Because Pogba just gives Kante the freedom of London to take a shot from 30 yards out. And it doesn't matter who's in goal. De Gea can't get that. It looks like he should get it because it's quite far out, but he's at full strength. He's going one way anyway. He's at full stretch. He can't save it. Pogba's got to be a lot tighter than that. I thought Pogba had a good first half, but second half he just showed that actually when you're a defensive side, Pogba's not a defensive player. I don't think Pogba won himself any favours either. As soon as the final whistle's gone, he's there hugging Conte and Kante after such a bad performance. But
in a different way, but I think we all
just listen to Mourinho.
Until the red cards and after the red cards. So, and then we can compare the decisions of these 2 yellow cards, in this case the second yellow card, with other ones that were not given, but I don't want to go in that.
Yeah, I mean, Mourinho's just basically saying there, the second yellow card that Herrera got, there was loads of yellow card tackles like that weren't given. But I think there's an agenda there. I really do. I really do think there's something going on, because it's happened too long. And people always say, oh, it evens itself out in a season. It'll even itself in a season. But it hasn't. It's been steadily the same against United, getting bad decisions like that. And people can say, oh, you've had an offside goal given against you. Well, given in your favour. I mean, offside goal against a player being sent off with an hour left to go. It's ridiculous. And a few people moaning about Mkhitaryan being taken off. I actually agreed with that. I think, why play Mkhitaryan for 90 minutes and keep him fresh? We've got 2 really important games coming up. Keep him fresh. Zlatan's fresh. He can play on Thursday. Obviously, we didn't use Carrick or Mata. They're fresh. Bay didn't play. They're fresh. You could bring Luke Shaw in. Maybe Martial or Rooney could be back. So we have got players who can come in, but it's going to be the Middlesbrough game will be quite difficult as to what we'll do without Herrera, because I do think he's been a really, really important player for United. But Pogba getting a bit of hate again. It is what it is, isn't it? It is what it is with Pogba, and I just don't think he's not a defensive midfielder, is he? And we played defensive in the second half, and he's not going to stand out in the opportunity. I think he's struggling at the moment, Pogba, but I won't turn against him. I just think he is struggling, and he just comes across as having this big ego status. And I didn't like to see him straight away as soon as the final whistle, smiling and hugging Conte and Kante. But he knows them both from France and Juventus. But as fans, we don't like to see that sort of thing, do we? But Herrera obviously suspended. Gary Paul, have you deleted your Herrera and Kante tweet? Yes, I did delete it, because I just got fed up of 5,000 retweets mashing up my timeline on Twitter. Basically what I'd said about that is, I tweeted this out about 3 days ago. And typically, idiots on Twitter just don't actually have a brain. It basically said something along the lines of, really can't wait to see Kante versus Herrera tonight. Bitter rivals and the media would have you believe that Kante is streets ahead of Herrera. They're in for a shock tonight. And Kante is a better player than Herrera. That tweet's not saying that. What I was saying is that Herrera is just massively underrated. I think even some United fans don't appreciate him. And I was looking forward to seeing Kante, the best defensive midfielder in the last 2 years in the Premier League, going against Herrera, who's actually been fantastic for us for the last couple of months. That's what that tweet was all about. Of course, you know, a situation where Herrera gets sent off and Kante scores the winner means that tweet's going to get ridiculed. But I wasn't saying that Kante is not a better player than Herrera. Kante is the reason Leicester won the title last year. Kante is the reason the same set of Chelsea players who came 10th last year are going to win the Premier League this year. He's a fantastic defensive midfielder. But Herrera has been consistently our best player since Christmas. So I was looking forward to that. It's one of them things. You know, the referee robbed us of Herrera and Pogba gave Kante the freedom of London to score a goal. So it's just one of them things. It swings and roundabouts, isn't it? But I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that the FA Cup run comes to an end. Anthony, put your neck on a chopping block. I don't give a shit. Do you think I give a damn about giving my opinion and somebody having a pop at it? I really don't care, mate. Got no problem at all with that. I know what I said. I know what I meant, and I stand by that. Herrera has been our most consistent player since Christmas. And if you, United fans, want to throw him under a bus because he was sent off unjustified by a referee, then you're not United fans as far as I'm concerned. Herrera should not have been sent off, and he has been our most consistent player since Christmas. So, you know what? Wind your necks in, support your own club, back your own club, and we go again on Thursday and Sunday. We've been robbed tonight. We've been robbed of an opportunity to defend a trophy that we are the champions of by a referee, and it frustrates the hell out of me. It really does. But I'm not turning against players on tonight's performance. Pogba's not a defensive midfielder. Herrera should not have been sent off. And yes, Darmian and Jones and Young and Fellaini. I mean, I didn't think Fellaini was that good when he came on either. But you can't really judge players when all they are doing is parking the bus for an hour. That's why De Gea gets man of the match. It was a backs to the wall game, and I don't think any player really can be targeted. I don't think Mourinho can be targeted. I think if you want to let your frustration out, go and let it out on the referee, because he ruined that game. He ruined that game as a spectacle. He didn't need to send him off second time. And that's how I feel about it. Mark, did I see... Ian says, did you see Rojo stamp on Hazard? Unfortunately, I missed that. I would have quite enjoyed that. And yeah, I mean, it's a good point, Jack Loudon. Hazard was the diving little idiot. I was disappointed to see that. I've not seen loads of Chelsea this year, but I would not like to see that in a Manchester United shirt. I know we've seen Ashley Young diving in the penalty box, and one dive in the penalty box every few games. He used to do it, and it would be all over the papers for a week. If you're a Chelsea fan, if Hazard and Diego Costa play for you, it's like watching Suarez last week. It's virtually every minute. I mean, I wouldn't want a player like that. As good as Hazard is, and as good as Costa is, I wouldn't want them at Manchester United. I personally don't want to see that. I mean, it's just beyond cheating. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. You've got that talent, and every time you're going down. And that comes from the manager. That comes from Conte and his Italian way of doing things. Disgrace. I don't like that. I've not seen enough of Chelsea to know if that's how they're going to win the league this year. I assume it's not. I assume they're going to win the league this year because they've got Kante in there and they've got a decent system. But if that's what they play week in, week out, I think that it's a disgrace. An absolute disgrace. And people can say, oh, you know, it's cheap. It's ironic of United to have a go at Chelsea for cheating because they've been doing it for years. But I think Ronaldo used to dive now and again in the box, and Ashley Young did, but not to that extent. I mean, that's just like every time he gets the ball. And Diego Costa is an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment to footballers. But if you want those players in your team, that's fine. I personally don't. And I think that was sad to see. But was that the reason we lost the game? No, I still don't think it was. We lost the game because the referee sent off somebody he shouldn't have sent off. I'm not denying that Herrera caught Hazard, but it wasn't a second yellow card. You should never get... A referee is briefed. It's like every time we go to Anfield or they come to Old Trafford or when we play Arsenal or when we play City, you'll hear it in the media. You'll hear it on shows like this. The referee's got to let things go because it's going to be high-paced. It's going to be high-tempo. It's two big rivals. The referee's going to have to let some things go. Don't give an early yellow card, this, that and the other. Well, that's a prime example of what went wrong today, because Herrera actually got sent off for 2 fouls, which the letter of the law and the FA, they'll be rubbing their hands going, yes, well done, Michael. You get your bonus in the post in a brown envelope. You've got rid of Mourinho out of the FA Cup. Well done. The letter of the law, he's totally safe. He's not going to get any criticism because it's 2 fouls. He's given 2 yellow cards and he's got a right to do that. But the reality is, in a game like that, you don't give 2 yellow cards like that. You don't give 2 yellow cards. You maybe give the first one and then you say one more and you're off. And then if Herrera does another one, he's only got himself to blame. But in that situation, that's not what happened. And it's really unfortunate and it's really sad. And I think we just walk out of this game just feeling like we may as well have just let Chelsea, when the draw was made, we may as well have had a night off and said, let Chelsea go through and have a bye, because it was never a contest. It was never a contest because it was ruined by the referee. And I'm really disappointed by that. Thanks everybody for watching. Manchester United player rating show will be coming up. I'll be doing that in about probably about 11:15. Just give this show a little bit of time to breathe. But thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everybody who watched the watch along. It was painful in the second half, but we had a bit of a laugh on there. It is the United Stand. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. And we will be live tomorrow night at 8:30 with a Skype Goldbridge show, where, funnily enough, we go live and you can Skype in and talk about anything you want to talk about. So if you feel Pogba deserves a bit of stick, or there's something that you weren't happy about tonight, tomorrow night at 8:30, join us and have your say. Other than that, I think we park tonight when we go for Thursday, and we just focus on 2 tournaments now. The top 4 in the Premier League, Europa League, both can get us in the Champions League. And if we're in the Champions League at the end of the season, this farce and cheating Michael Oliver night will be long forgotten. But it's sad to be out of the FA Cup because we are the holders. But it is what it is. It was 10 against 12. And when that's the case, you're always going to struggle. I'll see you in a bit later. Thanks for watching.